Johannesburg Emergency Services says disaster monitoring teams remain on high alert as heavy rains rendered the roads slippery. The South African Weather Service has forecast more heavy downpours, strong and damaging winds, and the possibility of hail across most of the country this weekend. Our reporter Sipho Stuurman has more.
We are at the Tshwane Emergency Services in Centurion, this following heavy or rather severe weather conditions over the weekend, where we've seen heavy rains, heavy downpours across many parts of the Gauteng province, and we've also seen hail storms, and we've seen those visuals on social media of vehicles that have been caught up in flash floods. But to get a clear indication of the damage, particularly in Tshwane, I am joined by the emergency spokesperson, Johan Peters. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Just give us a general picture of the situation in Tshwane.
At this stage, we can confirm that various flash floods did occur in Tshwane. We did respond to many calls from residents saying that their houses are flooded. But, it's not that the serious floods. The community normally get anxious when they see water entering their premises. But this is a problem that's been there for many years. All the areas in the houses in low-lying areas, they tend to have a problem when there's severe downpours. Water will run through their houses, and then our advice to them, we will respond obviously immediately. Our advice to them is to evacuate to higher areas and or to channel water away from houses where there is a risk of severe flooding in certain areas.
And we've seen some vehicles on social media, as I mentioned there, that seem to be caught up in these flash floods. Just give an extent, do you have a number or figure of these vehicles that were caught in these flash floods? We obviously aware of two that we assisted to take them out from water, but it's not really caught up in rivers or spruits. It is vehicles that went off the road, and due to the mud and the surface that is wet, they could not, move from there. So we used our vehicles to just pull them out, and they were obviously shown the right way to cross. Of course, we found them quite close to low water bridges, and we all know that low water bridges during flood conditions is very dangerous. You're not supposed to cross there, and obviously keep your eyes, ears open, and if you see any problem, report it immediately to the services so that you can block off the road and warn other residents not to use those specific roadways. And then let's talk about any injuries. Are there any people that are reported to have been injured, and are there any people that have drowned? We had reports of possible drowning.
No, nobody injured as yet, not that we're aware of, but we did get a message from a person this morning that he saw two bodies in the Apis River as he passes by. Now, that cannot be confirmed as yet. We send out our teams immediately and the SABC diving unit, and they were searching for 5 hours since this morning, but the flow of the river is just too strong at this moment. We cannot put in any teams, personnel into the river or any boats. So the search will continue tomorrow, and we obviously are waiting for relatives or family to report that they missed any two persons. At this stage, it's only been reported that they've seen two persons in the river.
And let's just talk about what is causing this. Is there an infrastructure problem? Our drainage systems, are they not working properly? What is the problem?
Now, bear in mind, your drainage system can only take up to so much water. This is a nature thing. If there's heavy downpours, your drainage system can take so much liters of water in such a time. Yes, there might be some blockages somewhere, but our roads and stormwater people, they respond immediately once we report these incidents to clear those drains. But I think it's, I don't think it's fair to say that the drainage system is not being maintained. We had many downpours in Tshwane, and I mean, you've seen some of the subways that has been filled with water up to their limits. And I think, yes, the system cannot handle all the water at once, but I think our drainage systems is in order, but yes, there might be some blockages.
And just finally, of course, the severe weather condition is still with us here. So what's your advice to Tshwane residents?
The advice is keep safe, be on high alert, listen to all the radio messages, listen to the emergency service personnel, and adhere to all the safety hints and measures that we've been sharing for so many years to our community. But let's do it again. Keep children away from any running water. Do not let children play in open dams, open rivers, open ponds that might occur now with these floods. If you've been caught up in a low-lying area and there's water rising, evacuate immediately to a higher point where you know that you're safe. And if there's any space to channel water away from your household, channel the water away and make sure that your animals and all the livelihood in your area is also safe. You know, people only tend to think about themselves, but they forgot about the animals. And we also have to take care of them.
All right, Johan Peters there from Tshwane Emergency Services, just giving us a picture of the situation in Tshwane. But the news is that well, there isn't much damage in terms of injuries or fatalities. But we did have those reported incidents of a few vehicles that were caught up in flash floods. But the message is that motorists need to be cautious and be very careful on the road and avoid low-lying bridges throughout this period. And with that, it's back to you in studio.
Mpumalanga